Welcome to AHRC TV's Weekly Roundup. Last Wednesday, Islamic fundamentalist brothers Saeed and Sharif Kouachi stormed the office of satirical cartoon publication Charlie Hebdo in Paris and, armed with Kalashnikov assault rifles, proceeded to slaughter 10 journalists and 2 police officers who were first on the scene. The attack shocked the world and triggered a global discussion on freedom of expression and where limits should be drawn on making fun of or criticizing potentially sensitive topics like religion and governments. In Asia, however, stories such as this are far too common. According to the World Press Freedom Index from 2014, Asia generally fare very badly compared with most other continents. Out of 180 countries listed, most Asian countries place in the bottom half of the list. China is at 175 and Sri Lanka 165. Although the situation in Sri Lanka has potentially improved significantly since last week's presidential election, which ousted authoritarian President Mahinda Rajapaksa. Pakistan is at 158, the Philippines and Bangladesh at 149 and 146 respectively, and India, not faring much better despite its often cited democratic claims, is at 140. The only Asian countries that place reasonably well are Hong Kong, Japan, South Korea, Taiwan, and Papua New Guinea, which all place around the 50 mark. In this week's special report, we present recent developments that illustrate how these countries value freedom of the press. In Pakistan, satire is acceptable only when it does not criticize those in power. Advocate Javeria Younes speaks with AHRC TV on the subject. From Thailand, Pawinee Chumsri from Thai Lawyers for Human Rights explains how free speech is limited in regards to the monarchy and military. In Burma, local writer Htin Lin Oo was arrested for a speech at a literary event where he criticized the disingenuous use of religion as a shield for violence. We interview Chief Court Advocate Htin Lin Oo. Corporate control of media in India. We interview journalist Mrinal Thalukdar. Hong Kong's press freedom in dramatic decline. Welcome to AHRC TV's Weekly Roundup. I'm Josephina Bergsten. We start in Pakistan, which has a long history of satire, but where religious sensitivities can result in severe punishments, including the death penalty for any perceived insults to Islam. There are several satirical programs on national television channels, but comedians' targets are generally limited to politicians and celebrities. Even then, the 2 most powerful forces in the country, fundamentalist religion and military, are off limits. Like the Charlie Hebdo cartoonists, many have paid with their lives for breaking this taboo. For more on this, we spoke with Pakistani lawyer Javeria Younes.
How is the discussion going in Pakistan, talking about the massacre in Paris and the kind of satire that the Charlie Hebdo was?
Satire that was published in terms of the Prophet. Obviously, there is absolutely no doubt about it. There are no two opinion about it that everybody is condemning it. But being on the same page, people are also condemning the attack. You know, there are a few factions, there are a few mullahs here and there who are, or going all out in saying that these people were martyrs. You know, the shooters were martyrs. But generally, people in Pakistan are condemning the act. They are in no way supporting these killers, these murderers. Because the thing is, we Muslims are very sensitive about our Prophet. But at the same time, we do not say go and kill every blasphemer, every person that you term blasphemer, you know, and go and murder him. That is not the way we see it as Muslims or as Pakistanis.
Like, is satire widely used in Pakistan?
Satire, again, is yes used widely by the cartoonists and that they have in different newspapers. But then again, they fall short of criticizing the establishment or particular sect. You know, being on the religious lines and all. You cannot make cartoons based on that. Politicians, yes, all the time. Film stars, movie stars, that goes. You know, that is nothing new or special. But, when it comes to these sensitive issues, there are no-go areas and, there are no not something which is very common or allowed in Pakistan.
In Thailand, freedom of expression and media have deteriorated significantly since the military coup last year. There were already strict laws against criticizing the monarchy, but the military regime has added further restrictions as to what can be discussed openly. For more on this, AHRC TV spoke with Pawinee Chumsri from Thai Lawyers for Human Rights.
Under martial law, the military have power to restrict the rights and freedom of the people. Like, for example, the freedom of transportation. They can they declare the curfew, for example, and also the freedoms of expression, like not allow people to demonstrate in public city, or even the restrict of the medias, like they can order to close the medias or to regulate some of the media not to criticize the military, for example. Most of the media restrict themselves not to report the other side, the bad side of the government. Now we have some media which is still blocked or closed by the officials military. Most of the media is about is the news websites and run by like alternative, is the alternative group who want to criticize the military, for example, or talk about the human rights violation in Thailand. Is some of the media still were blocked by officials. Some of the law that block us or block media or people to express their opinion is as I said, Computer Crime Act or the NCPO order, and also the law about the Lese Majeste. Like media also censor themselves about the Lese Majeste law, because the law, they have the punishment like 3 to 15 years in prison. So everyone don't want to talk about the monarchy because this law, and we heard that a lot of people was arrested and was charged just they talk something about the monarchy or criticize. And in Thailand, there is one program at the mainstream media talking about the monarchy as the structure, as the principle, the like monarchy under constitution country, something like that. But at the end, they was banned by their editors.
Htin Lin Oo, an author and information officer of the National League for Democracy, or NLD, in Burma, is being prosecuted for criticizing the use of religion to justify violence. At a literary event in Sagaing on October 23rd, Htin Lin Oo gave a 2-hour speech which included a comparative analysis of religious zealotry. He claimed that the existence of good and bad people in every religion makes it impossible to determine which religions are good or bad. As Burma is a Buddhist country, he illustrated this by pointing out that some Buddhist people do not follow Buddhist words. Instead, they do whatever they want and try to use Buddhism as a shield for their actions. He went further to condemn those who use Buddhism as a tool of extreme nationalism and criticize other religions or discriminate against them, as he believes Buddhism has no place for such extremism. When this part of his speech made its way onto Facebook, a group of Buddhist monks released a statement accusing him, the event organizers, and the NLD of insulting Buddhism. Insulting Buddhism is a serious crime in Burma. Subsequently, 9 different political parties and nationalist groups joined the call for serious action. On November 20th, an immigration and population officer opened a case against him. Strangely, no letter of permission from the Ministry of Religious Affairs was presented to the court, so at this point it's unclear what authority the officer had to open the case. The author insisted he was solely responsible for the content of his speech and later posted an apology on Facebook and explained that he had not intended to insult Buddhism. On December 18th, Htin Lin Oo was arraigned in court, and as insulting religion is a non-bailable offense, he was remanded and is now awaiting trial. For more on why this happened and the future of freedom of expression, we turn to Chief Court Advocate Htin Lin Oo.
This case shows that freedom of expression in Burma is now in danger. The government wants to withdraw the freedom of expression in Burma in recent condition. His speech is nearly 1 hour and 40 minutes. 3/4 majority of his speech seriously criticized the government's behavior and unfulfilled promises and recent political situation in Myanmar. The government don't want to accuse him of political expression, so they try to use this charge that Htin Lin Oo tried to insult Buddhism. I think the freedom of expression, especially in 2015, was and was because of the coming election. The government wants to handle or manipulate or control the media's free expression.
In India, media freedom may seem relatively free from restrictions. However, corporate control plays a role. AHRC TV spoke with journalist Mrinal Thalukdar for more on this.
Officially, formally, or theoretically, or in the software ability, that no, there is a media freedom, and there are not much of restrictions on the media. But that is in the surface, because that is not happening. The corporate has completely taken over the media in such a way that the corporate interests are being served through the media, not media is serving the society. It is a corporate interest is being served by the media at this moment. The decaying has been since last 10-15 years, but it has been much more evident, especially in this BJP government. And systematically, BJP has gone and successfully won one after another big media houses, so that at this moment, I myself have seen that independence of the media, the independence of the questions, the capability, the credibility, and the tendency of looking into the major issues have been sidelined, and it has been now more and more tabloidization of the newspaper, of news or media has been more and more encouraged. And it's a very subtle way. So I can call it the spin doctors of the corporators are now ruling the media, and they are doing wonderful job for themselves. But in a process, the normal population have been denied the actual stories, the actual issues, and actual movements or actual their own demands and rights. So that's why I will be saying that media of late has been failing. So it's basically now more and more happy-go-lucky and please Modi kind of syndrome which we have been witnessing, and it's not very, very good thing. Very bad thing, because questions. So now nobody questions the BJP very strongly, and we have seen that one media house was sold to a very big corporate house just because that particular media house was not going the BJP way, and that was sold off. The main investor, in fact, sold off the whole thing. One of the topmost journalists, he also had to leave his job. But at this moment, I will say that about 90% or even more, the 95% of the Indian media has been doing the same line, be it in Northeast India, be it New Delhi, be it Chennai, or be it even Mumbai.
Lastly, Hong Kong ranks among the best territories in Asia regarding media freedom. It has a long history of freely expressing grievances against government officials, both in Hong Kong and mainland China. Hong Kong's vibrant press has in the past not shied away from discussing issues that are sensitive in mainland China, such as Taiwan, Tibet, democracy, human rights, and Falun Gong. However, according to a report by the Hong Kong Journalists Association, last year was the darkest for press freedom for several decades, with the media coming under assault from several directions. There have been violent attacks on journalists by hired thugs, most famously the stabbing of former Mingpao Daily News chief editor Htin Lin Oo. Outspoken commercial radio talk show host Li Weiling was fired, while self-censorship continues to be a major concern amongst journalists and the public, as media owners are worried about losing advertising revenue. Many argue that Beijing's growing intolerance of dissent was responsible for HSBC and Standard Chartered, two major British banks, pulling advertising from all Next Media platforms. The Next Media Empire owner and former chairman is Jimmy Lai, perhaps the most famous face of outspoken anti-establishment media in Hong Kong today, especially being a near-daily presence at Occupy Central late last year. Lai has been subject to death threats and online hacking attacks and is currently being charged for his active participation in Occupy Central. He is also being investigated for corruption in relation to donations to pro-democracy causes in the city. Mr. Lai's house and Next Media's offices were firebombed in the early hours of Monday night this week. No real damage was reported. That is all for this weekly roundup. For more on these and other issues, please visit www.humanrights.asia. Thank you for watching and see you next week.